We are live. Hello, hello, hello.
Hi,
Was
everybody.
yeah. Hen is here. Hello, Hen. How are you?
Hi. No,
Good.
I'm fine. I'm normal. It's
Yeah,
okay.
you good that you're normal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Uh,
we've had quite a bit of interesting stuff. So Hen, do you want to explain to everyone, maybe for people who don't
right.
know, what's
We've been
happened?
getting some of these. I think they're labeled Stories of Middle Earth, and so we had one on Numenor. That one was let's interesting, but not as innovative. And now we had one on the Southlands, which is where Tihorat is. And one of the major storylines of the show, and that one turned out to be quite interesting because let me just have it in front of me, but
It is pretty much, Hen. I know you want to say it. What is
oh
Tehran
y-
pretty much?
yeah, a camera move revealed it as what has been referred to semi-jokingly on Reddit as before door. I like that name
Before the
because you see it, and I guess it was inevitable because the show is probably going to use maps to orientate the audience, and so you can't
Mhm.
really hide the fact that it's inside Mordor. It's not outside on Ithilien. It's not to the south. It's really inside Mordor, and it's not even like tucked away into a corner particularly. It's somewhere between the Sea of Norn and Gorgoroth,
Yep.
and
And if
it's
I even get it up for us, is it here? There. Oops. That. So I've got on screen, you can see I've got comparison between the two. And interestingly, it is more in the area of Nern, don't you think?
yeah, sure, but it's still Mordor, or
Hmm.
it still would become Mordor, I guess, more to the point. So yeah, Norn is supposed to be less sulfurous, I guess, but it's still. I never at any point imagined any part of Mordor really being this kind of really lush, verdant,
Yep.
really wonderful. It looks great.
We can get some
Kind of
pictures on screen right now.
countryside. Yeah, it looks. That's the great irony, I guess, with Tiharad, and it's intended to be ironic, of course, but it's very lush and it looks nice and evocative and good. The village itself looks very nice. The countryside in which it's set looks very nice. Uh,
Especially this shot here. Yeah, you won't
yeah,
you
it,
won't be able to, yeah.
yeah, it looks brilliant.
And
Everything looks really good about it. But it's Mordor.
yeah, and I think the first thing that we're going to be doing, we're going to play a little like identification game. So the first thing is, so what I remember from someone like well, a leaker said long time ago, they said to us, Osterith Watchtower. So I am guessing, or I'm putting together that this watchtower you see here on screen right now could potentially be, once we get it up, oops, like that. So on the left, you
Right.
see Osterith. I think that you see on the left is where the watchtower is. Then you see the mountain
Yeah.
range around it.
Right.
Then I think we also got told of a Horden village. So I am thinking that this village here is Horden village, which is the bit right at the top. And then so if we go back for a second, this shot we're seeing here is going straight forward to the village that should be ahead. If Ostirith is there, Ostirith Watchtower, see the mountain range, then you go to Horden. So I'd like to see what people in chat think, but I think this is the two locations. And also to potentially reinforce this, um, we have it should be there. Okay, there we go. Um, so yeah, we can see that valley there. I think people are even thinking potentially the Morgul Vale as well for that. So
Hmm.
you think, Hen, do you think this is purposeful that we should be, going through all this and trying to put it all together, etc.?
I think it's just the sort of thing where they realized, well, we're gonna show it on a map, so we really can't hide the fact that it becomes Mordor. At least not from
Hmm.
us. From normies, certainly, but not from us. And so, yeah, I don't think it's very necessary to look at every angle and say, oh, this becomes this part of Mordor, this becomes that. Here's Mount Doom or whatever. Although, to be fair, Mount Doom is on the map. So is Mindoloin, by the way, from across the mountains, the mountain that Gondor is, Minas Tirith is ultimately founded at.
Yep.
You know, everything is there in terms of the geography of it. It's just at this point in history, it's apparently like really idyllic, lush, wonderful, really, really very lovely looking New Zealand countryside.
Hmm. And even, which I'm going to get up now for everyone. Bear with us. We're going to get this up here. There we go. We have that in the background. There is the watchtower. So we've got the village here. We see them more,
Yeah, it's like the stronghold, yeah.
Yep. Then we
I'm
got this.
guessing it's the elven stronghold, though, like
Yes,
watching over them. Yeah.
that is probably this tower here. So that's
Yeah.
what's going on there. That is this tower from all the way back, which means technically that if you're looking at it from this angle, the village should be more straight to the right. And then if we pull up where is it? Yeah, this map here. So we've got Istith Watchtower to the left. Then we've got Horden Village. It says or Honbden something. So that is how we think as of right now it is working out. And of course, Hen, the interesting next spot that we have is we have ourselves potentially Orodruin, Mount Doom spotted as well. So what do that mean? So we know it's
Yeah.
there. Do you think it's probably dormant at this point?
Honestly, who can tell? Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I don't see any lava around.
Mm-hmm. And I think, do you think something around, I think people will be talking, speculating about, something might happen, there might be explosion because in some of the sets, in the
Oh,
trailers
you
we've
can
seen,
see it in the teaser, yeah.
yeah,
In the
we see,
trailer, I
yeah,
should
we're
say.
seeing
There's a big
a
explosion.
village, big explosion.
And everybody is there, I should add, too, in the shot
Mm-hmm.
before, right before the explosion. I think Galadriel is there, Bronwyn, Theo, Arondir are there, Miriel is there, Isildur is there, and they seem to also all survive the explosion. I mean, obviously, in the case of some of them, but it
Yeah,
doesn't seem to do the people any real harm too much. But it does transform the landscape. We see shots after this explosion or eruption or whatever it is,
yeah,
and it's very hellish and very like orangey, and Mordor.
yep. And the next thing I'm going to be getting up on screen is actually talking about what you were referencing there. Um, but I think Mordor has to be a pivotal point of this season. But okay, that's quite
Yeah.
massive. We get it down. So then putting it together, this is basically our little collage of sorts. So I'm not sure how you can see, but if we put this all together, this I think I think it's a fair assumption of how we might see things play out here. So we see eruption, and then we see maybe a volcano erupting, and then a village might be getting um, destroyed.
Yeah, I
So
think the village itself, the buildings look pretty destroyed in the aftermath of the explosion. That we do see very clearly.
yep.
Yeah. The people seem to survive pretty unscathed though.
And do you know what? I would, Hen, if you carry and speak for me, because I'd actually like to add another image to this, which might be part of the who did was IGN the ones who got the orc leaks. Okay, we got that. Okay,
Yeah.
now okay, so we get this up. 1 second, bear with us. Once. It's going to be the picture of Assassin's Creed orc. I'm making a little collage here right now, but what I think we're doing potentially is
Putting together plot.
putting together potentially the plot. So I think all of these are connected in some way. And do you
I
know?
think yeah.
Unless anybody in chat wants to let us know. Yeah, I think we are putting together. Actually, there's another thing.
There's
I've
another
got.
thing.
There
Let's
is a. There
let's see
is
what
an.
you're thinking. Yeah.
You remember this picture? Um, and while I get this up, would you just give us like rundown of all this and why are we putting it all together like this?
My thinking is that there is the IGN shot. There's this crane, not the crane, but there are shots of like orcs infiltrating this place. And
Mm-hmm.
this place, like quite a lot of the shots of the Tiharadrim storyline, seem to be not from the village so much, but from the tower, because they have the kind of masonry that I associate with the tower, and and even like Bronwyn's like rallying speech to the populace, which we see in this footage, seems to be, to me at least, taking place in the tower. And the big crane shot of Adar with the orcs is on the bridge leading up to the tower. We see Arundel fighting there on the battlements in the trailer. I think we have in store. I think the orcs harass the Tiharadrim to such a pitch that they go into the tower to hide, and then Adar rolls out his forces against them. Presumably, Galadriel grows wise to this. I'm assuming via the instrument of the Palantir.
Mm-hmm.
Convinces Miriel to lead a sortie to there, and they relieve the siege. Just how much like Helm's Deep this is gonna look and feel is for a later day. I don't know that we can necessarily say that at this point, but it does feel very Helm's Deep, as in like siege gets relieved at the last minute by cavalry intervention, and then during the victory celebration, something, I have no idea what, happens that results in that explosion or eruption, and voila, insta Mordor.
Yeah. One says, Bretty Cole says, I'm wondering if the scene where the priestess blows the sparks from her hand ignites Mount Doom.
I
So
don't think so.
that could be one possibility.
The more that I'm hearing about the priests, those acolyte characters, whatever,
Yeah.
the more I think they have to do with the Hobbit storyline, simply because we were told that they come from the east, and the Hobbit storyline we know takes place east, whereas this is south. So I think they're very conscious of like this storyline is east, this storyline is south, that storyline is
Yeah.
west. So yeah, I don't think so. And we haven't
Yeah.
seen them in any shots that seem to really implicate any interaction with the Tioharad storyline of
Yeah.
anything.
Mm-hmm. And then Christian says, no better seems she inflames the Hobbit camp. That is fair enough. Luke Shelton, hello. He says, it appeared in the newest video that it was an uprising plot, so conflict between men and elves. And I
Yes,
think,
there is.
yes, and I think, interestingly enough, while I take our little collage down for a second, I'm sorry. Oops, not hand though. Once I think is the Ian Blackburn confirmation that we have. Okay, Ian Blackburn is there.
Ian Blackman, yeah, and another guy,
Mm-hmm.
Jeff Morrell, right?
Yeah, Jeff
I
Morrell.
told people I thought that was Jeff Morrell, the crazed-looking guy,
Yeah.
and people were like, "That looks a little bit more like I forget his name, the other older actor that is
Mm,
involved with this played the captain of the pirate ship in the Return of the King.
mm-hmm.
I can't remember his name at the moment, but like we were Jeff Morrell in most of his like pictures from roles and his like promotional pics. He's like has this very kind of like elder statesman kind of look,
We also
and
have a new
yeah,
promo as well that's just dropped. Another one. But
yeah,
let me quickly try and pull up. Actually it's quite in. Hen, mute that though, please. Because we don't want to
yeah.
get taken down. But Ian Blackburn's involvement in one of the scenes, we see him. So we see Arondir say, "The past is with us all," and
Yeah,
then
that is
has
an
in reply,
Arondir line. I didn't
yeah,
think it is.
and that is actually in reply. Yeah, we got new short teaser. We just went through it. Just it's a lot of the same stuff, but when in reply
Yeah, I'm
to
not
Ian
seeing much
Blackburn,
new in
yeah,
it. Yeah,
Ian Blackburn getting angry at his character getting angry at
presumably Arondir. Yeah.
yeah, for that. So
You know, that's very, in a way, like it's very nice and all, yeah, but in a way, it's very familiar territory for this media series, simply because, you know, tension between groups of people, and then the scourge of the orcs rises, so they have to work together. I think that's what we have here. That's fine. I'm not saying this in any derogative way, but you know, it's very powerful. The course, it happens in the Lord of the Rings, it happens in the Hobbit. It's very, you know.
and our good friend Jaron Pack, he has a new article out, and we'll get to that in a second. But there is actually one quote to add to what Luke was saying earlier, which actually includes phrasing of get up now. Here we go. We'll be able to see the layers of why this is forbidden, why it's not, and how it falls in the hierarchy of itself. So that's one of the new quotes. But there was actually another one as well. But it's basically saying they feel oppressed. That's
Yeah,
what
sure.
the
Of course they
South
would be. Yeah.
the Southlanders feel oppressed. And I was seeing we are getting this type of uprising plot. And also, while we talk about it, Hen, we've also, if we move this for a second, we get the confirmation of Simon Morell's character. And do you want to quickly
Yes.
speak through the names of
Yeah. We know his name from his representatives. It's Revion, I think. He's
Revion?
another presumably Sylvan elf working with Arondir. We
Mm-hmm.
see him in the pit with Arondir. I guess not necessarily both of them make it out, but
I
yeah.
hope. Simon Morell is a terrific actor, so I do hope he does make it out. But the actual quote I was talking about is here. Also, Binyadi said about her Southlander people, they're trying to redeem themselves and liberate themselves from the elves who are occupying and watching over them.
Yeah.
They're trying to
I mean,
break.
I'm guessing it's not literally an uprising where they take the elves and throw them out. I'm guessing it's more like there's kind of tension, also fueled in part by the fact that Bronwyn and Arondir are bumping uglies,
Yeah.
and beyond that, and then when the orcs show up, they have to come together.
Yeah.
I think is more to the point.
And also, the Hunter ask, you seen the new leaked soundtrack names? We can confirm those are real. Those are the real soundtrack names. So yeah,
Yes, they are.
Adar is okay. Orin is a code name as well. That's one thing I think
Yeah,
people get.
Adar is the name. Yeah. I
Adar
mean,
is
yeah.
father, but I think
Daddy.
daddy. Wow, but I think from also be leaked on Sunday. I mean that Ian Blackburn's friends with one of Theo's friends. And look, we have it right here, which is another very nice thing as well.
Yes, that
Also,
was very nice.
so we've got quite a lot here, but I think let's go back to the map quickly because I want to talk about for a bit. It's south of Mordor, but so it's in the Nern region, and then we get the Lake Nernan to the right. But then, what could this tree thing be right here? Looking thing.
Is it a tree though?
Yeah,
I don't know.
what would you think? It does quite look like a tree.
It does. I don't know. It's like because it's like it's a map. It should be two-dimensional. I mean, there are
Yeah,
trees. Like so. I don't know.
but
Maybe
no,
it's
it's
like
the tree is the size of like 3 mountains if you're putting it
yeah.
in
So
proportion.
it's not. Yeah, it's probably not
Yeah,
actually a
yeah,
tree. I don't know. Maybe it's. I really don't know. Maybe it's not a tree, but actually like we see around it like
yeah.
a bit of forest or something. I don't know.
And also, Elvin Casper's data says Owen was my great grandfather's middle name. I've always liked it. Oh, that's awesome. Also, hi to Helen Cruz Fangirls in chat as well. Hello.
Oh, hi, Alan.
Oh, could this be potentially linked to the Ents somehow? Entwives? Yep, Strider just put in chat. Are we seeing?
I wouldn't like there are lands of the Endwives. They're on the
Yeah,
Amazon map that we have from before,
yeah.
which is not shaded like this. That's to the north of Mordor.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It could be, but I don't think so. We see the Entwives seemingly in the same environment as the Harfoots, which would probably be like I wouldn't say like actually like in Rune, but certainly like probably the Wilderland type kind
Yeah,
of area.
yeah. I agree. I agree. I agree. And also another thing which is quite interesting that people noticed once we pull it up, right? Um, it's one of these ones. Um, it was the one of basically you see in the background Mount Doom basically in one of the shots, and you actually can see the background. Hen, do you know which one? Do you want to talk to them while I pull it up quickly?
Mount Doom in the
It's
back
the of this shot. Okay, 1 second. Bear with us. Save image. Okay. Pull this up. Um.
We've seen Mount Doom in the back of some of the shots. That's not like I remember people pointing it out. Oh, look, Solitary
Yeah.
Peak looks kind of black. It was in the back of the shot of the tower
Yeah, we
from a
have it
different
here.
angle, which was in the first teaser.
Mm-hmm. And if I do this
Like
kind,
yeah,
could this potentially be? Some people are speculating that this is a solitary peak, but is it too early right now to jump to conclusions?
yeah, sure. I also don't think again that when you're dealing with this kind of geography where things are really far away, trying to figure out quite where everything is compared to everything else is not necessarily the most fruitful endeavor because it doesn't matter. Mount Doom is there and it's gonna do what it's gonna do. I'm assuming the explosion is Mount Doom erupting, but I
It
could be
does
wrong.
kind of matter in this sense in regards to proximity, of the village. So we know how far that should go because again, if we do come back to for some, we know we've got more people coming in, so some who might have missed it. But the idea is so on the left, Ostirith.
Hmm.
Ostirith is the watchtower. So Ostirith seems to be this watchtower, which behind us, which Aronde is on right here. So that's Ostirith. Then Horden, which you can see, even if some people don't exactly know where Horden is. This part here, Horden, could potentially be this right here, this village. So that could potentially be Horden village. And then in proximity of where this is, and then of course the most important thing is what is the proximity of all of this to Mount Doom? And I think
I mean,
because
you can see it, but it's quite far away.
yep. So then if we pull this one up here, we have now got it looks like we have the confirmation of Orodruin, and the important thing here then is if Orodruin's there, so it would line up with that potentially being Mount Doom then, that solitary peak, because
Sure.
it is in the line of Ostirith. When you have Horden behind it, then you have Mount Doom behind it. So once we find that image again, it would line up with that in my opinion. So you have Ostirith Watchtower, then you get Horden Village, then behind that you get Mount Doom, and that's what that solitary peak here is. So you've
Okay.
got the watchtower, then you've got the village, then maybe find that might not necessarily be Mount Doom, but just an example of geography wise how this is all going to be
Yeah.
working. So I think, I think one thing I do want to do, which is quite fun, is go back to our little theory of was it's this one here. So we have, I think, as I said before, that these are all connected.
Mm. Yeah, sure.
And
I think so.
do you think, I think Sauron arriving in Middle Earth and going to Mount Doom is one of the big events of the first age, one of the first things in the first age, in fact. Oh,
Yeah.
second age. So what am I saying? Second age. See, well, technically, end of the first age, begin second age. Sauron returns to Middle Earth. So, is the big thing, the big tent pole event of this first season, going to be Sauron coming back, maybe destroying this village, going kaboom, as you can see in the middle shot there? Then that'd be the big,
I mean, the whole
big,
environment does, because
yeah.
here it's nice and grass and trees and everything and
Mm-hmm.
water, and yeah, sure. I mean,
Yeah.
it has to be. We see it too. We see it in the
Yeah.
trailer.
And
Uh,
even Kieran Khan says Mount Doom is apparently 4,500 feet tall. So from that difference, it looks about right. So yeah, fair enough. So I think when J.D. Payne and Patrick McKay first said, okay, we're going to be telling the rise of Sauron, the forging of the rings, the downfall of Numenor, the War of the Last Alliance, etc., etc. I think the tentpole event for this first season is going to be Sauron arriving in Middle Earth, his true identity in Mount Doom, and Mordor, this thing gets destroyed. And I
yeah,
think then adding on to that, as Nawid Paltry says, do we think volcano explodes in episode 7 or episode 8? I think
it's
it has to be a season finale moment for me. What do you think, Hen?
it feels like a season finale to me as well. The only thing I would say to it not being a season finale is maybe they won't want the season finale to be too much of a downer
Yeah,
insofar as Galadriel, or Galadriel is all like, oh, Sauron is back, we need to do something, we need to prepare, we need to thwart him, we need to. So she leads this expedition to the village, and if all this expedition to the village results in is this explosion, then she's clearly a failed.
yep,
She's failed to stop Sauron, totally, or slow him down, like anything. So maybe they'll want to have like an extra bit in there for her to do something that is like, oh, at least she, I don't know, took down one of the big orcs or something to make it not so much of a downer. Maybe, I
yep.
don't know. I like it, by the way, when characters failing is much more interesting dramatically than them succeeding. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. And I think the final thing, but at the same time, they're hinting at this so much. Like we're right now putting this together on a live stream weeks before the
Mm.
show comes out. So I think this still can't be the final finale moment, if you get what I mean.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
sure
weird.
I'm sure there is
Being
something there.
so focused on secrecy to now really reveal their cards is really weird.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And I think one thing I wanted to mention as well, which I'm going to get up on screen now. First, let's take all these maps down because I think we made our point loud and clear enough at this point. But it's about. Do you want to talk, Hen, through the Ian Blackburn and Aronde moment when they speak to each other? 'Cause I think that's a really interesting plot point we are seeing. Yep. Mm-hmm. He says here, when are you people going to let the past go? So I think that is very, very interesting that we hear him say, I think I accidentally left you on mute, Hen, as well. I'm sorry. I think Hen was giving us a really nice speech, and then he's gone. But we hear him say, "Let me." So he says, "When are you guys going to let the past go?" Then he says, then Aronde says, "The past is with us all." So I think we
Yeah.
are seeing that moment there.
I didn't
So
think that was an Arondir line previously.
it,
It
but it
is.
seems to be, yes. And
Yeah.
and I think what we're also really seeing here is Bronwyn leading this village. And actually, I think one little clue that I really liked that was actually in the trailer, well, was actually in this shot, is Hen, do you want to quickly talk to them and what our leaks about sunlight and the orcs?
Oh, we know that the orcs. IGN spoke about this
Yeah.
too.
Oh,
These
yeah.
At this point in the storytelling, the orcs are still very sensitive to sunlight, so they get burned. And so you can see in those shots that do feature the orcs, either they have like you know
Yeah.
they have like some sort of like coverings on, and certainly their what looks like their camp has a lot of shades over it. And those parts of them that have been exposed to sunlight do look quite raw. It's a nice conceit at this point. It's like, yeah, they'll get stronger, they get a little bit more impervious to this.
Yeah.
It's nice.
And one of
Yeah,
them we have here, we have the sunlight coming up. So I think there's either the sunlight, maybe this is before or after attack on the village, where he comes in and out, where they come, you see the clouds. What else am I thinking? The clouds come, and because the orcs can't travel when the sunlight's out. So I think that's a really, really, really interesting point. So I think a lot of the orc stuff, a lot of the battles in this first season, I think it is safe to say that a lot of all that stuff will be happening
in the
at
dark.
in the dark, maybe potentially, and in this village right here. I think we see this village will be getting a lot of it. So I think, what do you think of that? The main
Yeah.
action of this first season is happening around this Teherad village.
I don't know if I'd call it the main, like but yeah, it's a very important portion of the plot that is happening here for sure. Uh, Certainly the end game of the season seems to be taking place here. I would
Hmm.
say. So
Yeah,
yeah, sure. And it's a nice setting, like it looks cool.
and
Um,
one indeed, and I think an interesting thing looking at here is actually, first of all, let's go to the man himself. We had a confirmation of no, that's not confirmation. Where is Mr. Jeff Morrell gone? Because we found out that he is now
yeah, we
what
have his name.
do you remember his name?
Nope.
Yeah, I think
Let me
it's like
find it.
Baldrick or something.
Yeah, something along those lines.
Also, one interesting thing, this shot right here looks like something out like a shot from The Witcher.
Which one? Just a minute,
Um,
let me put it
we see Geralt in the first episode go into the village, walk into, I think, I've forgotten the exact name of the village now, but
To me, it looks most of the shots in Tioharad itself to me look quite nice. So I don't.
yep. But
Yeah, and I didn't watch The Witcher, so I don't.
yeah, and I think what we're going to be doing now, I'm going to pull up what I was on about in regards to Bronwyn. Okay, save a minute. I think, Hen, it's fair to say Bronwyn is going to be the rebel, the fighter, fighting for her people in this first season. What do you think?
I'm guessing she's not fighting. I'm guessing her rallying speech is not against the elves,
No, it's
it's
against the
being that she's
threat.
sleeping with one. I think it's against the orcs, but yeah,
Hmm. It's really, and even Ronda says, "Prepare your people," and then, of course, then whenever I see this quote, it leads me back to the quote by Ronda by actually, in fact, um Bonyadia. She says here, let's actually pull this up in front. try and redeem themselves, live with themselves, and it feels like they are. This Tirharad village is on the brink of like. I know it's fun you say eruption, as of course in Mount Doom, but I think within themselves they're getting to a boiling point now. You've got,
Yeah.
as you can see here, we've got the elves watching over them. They are, look at, they say they don't have much. Look at them reeling that around. And I think even, let's pull up this one here. I think this really shows this is the type of people at the minute. And I think people talking about this, all some Asians. There are a big variety of different peoples in
Yeah.
this village. And also, I think another thing
It
someone
makes
mentioned,
sense in Tirharad in the
yeah,
same way that it makes sense in Lake Town. I
Big
think it
Town,
made
yeah.
more sense in Lake Town than in this, possibly, because
Maybe
it's
not because it's
it's a
closer to the
frontier
sun.
town. Yeah, it's yeah, but this isn't a trade. Doesn't look like much of a trading center like
It
Lake
looks like
Town did.
lots of different people getting grouped together because they're getting after the end. So I think maybe this is more a situational thing where all these people get together. But even you see, like, great, I think these are more like the peasant type people in this verse. You
And they
even see
are.
Ian Blackburn there. So I think that's a very interesting point around this. Um, and I think with Aronde in this plot, I think overall it's going to be, I think, where, as I said before, this is where a lot of the action is going to happen. This is where a lot of the event, I think it leads into that final part of the season where everything will be happening, where everyone will be coming to Tehran. Let's quickly find them. I'll pull it up right now, actually. Yep. Yeah, I think here it is. Um, so And even here, you can see quite a lot of these people. And I think, as said before, that is probably coming from this bad boy, which of course is Mount Doom. So I think that will be a very, very interesting plot point. But overall, Hen, I'll forward it to you for your final thoughts here.
Plot point to actually put into this, because it's like, you see Mordor after Sauron has been expunged at the end of the Return of the King. You see it in the back of shot behind the coronation, and it looks, it isn't sulfurous anymore, but it still looks like a desert. Whereas here they're going for it was this lovely place, grass, green grass and trees and water, and really quite a lovely place that suddenly
Well,
turned into.
I think you can make an argument for if, for example, near the Nern area and the Lake Nern, that even into the Third Age, things were still able to grow there. So I think that's a more habitable area. And even if this tree ends up potentially being something related to the Ents, I think certain parts of the area can potentially be habitable. But
Yeah,
I
but
think
we
the
see we,
overall,
we see the aftermath of the explosion. It's all red and ash and fire, and so it's gonna have that. Oh, it was this wonderful, lush-looking place, and suddenly it's Mordor. And that's one of those things, one of two really major things, this and Meteor Man, that are really, really giving me big pause as to the quality of the writing for this show, because uh, it's going to sound very, very abrasive, but sometimes you just got to say it. A better writer wouldn't conceive of a plot point like this at all. Like,
Mhm.
this is bad. This is a bad idea. It's just
Well, I
really, really,
think
really
for
a bad
that,
idea.
but you have to remember at the
Uh,
same time, you seem to be in the minority with that. So we're not confirming it as, a bad, awful idea. But I do have actually quite a nice surprise that someone just has sent in the DMs while we were speaking. And Hen, I don't want to say too much, but we might have had the chance to listen to some of these. Let's get it up now. And I think you might know. I think so we spent a lot of last night doing. Um, you can't guess already. It is. Here we go. Amazon, and if you can't check the stream, but where we have on stream, it seems like the final composing list with all the names. So we have. Let me put it quickly in there for you as well. So yeah, I think this is official. This is like we can confirm this is official. This is real. Also, I'll put it up here for you. There you go. It's a reference. I want to see what you guys are thinking of this. I've just been sent it. Apparently, this is an official look at it. So I'm gonna say thank you to this person. So soundtrack. From what, of course, you don't want to say too much. From what we've heard of it, Shaw's main theme is good. I think it's good, but it's not incredible. Do you think that's the best way to put it?
yeah, it's not like it is and it isn't. I tell you what though, it's not a big swashbuckling fortissimo kind of lighting of the beacon kind of cue, a
Yeah.
piece, I should say. But how it doesn't like to open
Hmm.
works in a very ostentatious way. Like the Lord of the Rings doesn't open with a big like trumpet like fanfare blaring. That's just not what he likes to
Yeah.
do. But what it does do very well, and I've been spending a lot of today looking into it, this opening theme that he's conceived of is brilliant at taking so many of the little like musical building blocks of all six of his scores and putting them into hiding them sort of in one relatively compact tune. So you hear that, and it's like this little thread from which this whole, what is it, like 20 hours of music in a certain sense unfold. And that's absolutely brilliant. And so in that sense, I think it's an absolutely astounding piece of music and musicianship because we hear so many things in it. It's really remarkable in that way. So I don't know. It's not a big swashbuckling
Yeah.
piece, but it's
And
very, very ingeniously constructed.
and I don't think it is too far. Of course, I know you want to hear. I'm sure so many of you want to hear. Um, I think we have already personally compared the Halbrand theme to the Sauron theme. There isn't really much of a mix over, but someone mentioned Nampat. That track goes like this. I'll try. It sounds weird, but it goes like Nampat, Nampat, Nampat. It goes like that over and over again for a little bit. Wait, if I pause it, let me see if I can. If you want, do you remember that one, Henry? Listen to
I
Nampat.
remember, I remember,
You
yeah.
would, let me see quickly how it goes again. So yeah, it goes like Nampat, Nampat, like that. It's like a chant of these people building it up. And I think once this does come out, yeah, it's 150 minutes. Once this does come out, one thing I will say about this soundtrack, there's lots of links to the priestesses. There is a lot. I think it is very interesting. I think the soundtrack's good. The soundtrack is decent.
The
Oh,
soundtrack is nice. Yeah.
it's not. It's of course. I don't say like it's blowing away. It's incredible, but some of the stuff I
I,
think
I,
was
would, I wouldn't. I have to be blunt and say that I never expected a TV soundtrack to be all that impressive because the composer has so much less time to work on
No,
this
to be
this
fair, no.
very
Bear
theme.
McCreary said he had this is the longest time he's ever had to work on a project. So
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's still comparatively like it's nothing like trying like
It's
when a
like over a
composer
year.
writes a symphony, like he's writing like what is it, 8 hours of music?
Yeah.
Let's say seven, because some parts will be
Hmm.
silent stuff.
Yeah.
7 hours, that's not a lot of time to write that much music.
Yeah. Also, another thing, once you listen to the actual once you listen to the whole thing, a lot of these tracks go back to the same Galadriel theme as well. I think
There's
that's
a lot
something
of
I
it,
noticed.
yeah,
There's quite a few iterations. Megan Richards has her own song in this. So
which I
was it
don't like.
I know we don't be too bad to track
Yeah,
um
it's been in one of the trailers, yeah.
yeah, but she didn't
Land
sing it
Far
herself.
Away. What
Yeah.
is it?
Some of the best ones, yeah, Lands Far Away. The best one is track 9 in the beginning. That's really good. The L Wonder one was quite underwhelming, I have to say.
Track
Um,
nine. Not that they necessarily are in
they're not.
chronological
Yeah, these
order,
one I
because
think track 9 might be one
albums
of the
aren't.
finale. Yeah,
I'm
and
not sure.
I think one of the
In the
finales.
beginning makes it sound like a prologue,
It
and
sounds like it's in the beginning of the end,
yeah,
type thing.
we'll
And
see.
then White Leaves, really good. I think that's in reference to Nim, nothing really to that. The Secrets of the Mountain, if people we've publicly heard some of that. Perilous Whisperings, number 33, track 33, is really, 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 really good as well. And I think that wasn't this Wandering Day. The Valinor theme, of course, really good. Interesting, the Stranger theme. Do you remember we listened to that? That was really, it was really, you know, it seemed quite. Actually, a lot of the Harford stuff was a bit. Do you want to go talk through the Harford stuff?
Saccharine, yeah, very saccharine kind of, very cute kind of music. Yeah, it's weird. Uh, you know.
The Numenor one was great. Though. I thought that was really strong. It's really bold. It sounds like an Egyptian kind of. I
Yeah, it
really like
has.
that.
I wasn't able to like from ear identify the instrument. Maybe it's a kind of like an erhu, a spike fiddle. Maybe
Yeah,
it's something else. Maybe it's like
yeah. And I think, of course, in respect to Bear McCree, this has been leaked and people are, trying to do stuff. We're not going to play or reveal it. I think that would be this is about his year work. I'm sure he wants the best like revelation as possible. But what from what I understand, it will be quite soon that it's going to come out. So yeah, I'm sorry, but yeah, I know some people asked if we could play it. I don't think we won't be doing that today. But of course, Hen, talk to us to the last one. What is the name of the last track?
last track is Where the Shadows Lie.
I think could this be the last episode as well?
Could be.
Name of the last. I meant the
Yeah,
name of the last episode.
yeah, music album. Yeah, that very well could be. Track titles are usually decided upon quite late, and I would imagine that the names of the episodes will have been decided on earlier than that, and would have been available for Bear McCreary. And also, music albums of this kind aren't typically chronological. They tend to be kind of edited, and so like track four, like track, I don't know, let I just want to random, like 15 could be like a minute and a half of music from this episode and 2 minutes from this one, and 30 seconds. Like you edit it to create like a suite that works musically. But nevertheless, usually the beginning is the beginning and the end is the end. That usually does hold. So we'll see. I think so.
If anybody wants to ask us our thoughts on some of the soundtracks, let us know quickly, and we could, give our opinions on what we thought of some of the tracks. My personal favorite, from what I can remember, I of course really like the Galadriel theme, but I think I think White Leaves was really good. I that Post Whisperings, but again, oh yeah, nothing really referenced to Gil-galad or Linden here at all in any of them. I don't think. Um, so I think that is very very interesting. But I think, Hen, we are just at about the time where we can wrap up now. We're going to go back to this map, and I think what we're looking at, I think we've known this for quite a while. I think to be fair, around all this proto
Yeah, yeah,
Mordor
yeah.
stuff. So
For
it looks like
quite a while too, I was resistant to believe it,
Mhm.
because it sounded so stupid. Yeah.
But you say it sounds stupid, but we just have to wait and see how it plays. I think a lot of people will are um true creation requires sacrifice. What did it sound like? From now on, the start of it was a bit, hard in there. It sounded quite evil, but then it mellowed out a bit and it came. Oh yeah, a lot of these tracks. It's I know a lot of these 37. It's like they're split into thirds, kind of. So the first like some minutes is certain type of music, then it kind of changes a bit. It's like really interesting. But yeah, I think yeah, this first bit of it sounded quite actually. Let me quickly wait. Or let me quickly play thing and see what it sounds like. Hen, that is your cue to talk. Actually, why don't you wrap up at the same time? You,
It's, interesting,
you are the
intriguing.
worst at this.
I mean, like, it's
Oh
Tiharad
shit!
itself looks nice, but where it's going is giving me some cause for concern.
Might have to cut that part out. I hope. Actually, no. That's one was publicly available music. So shit. Though either way, shouldn't be saying that either. Okay. True creation. It starts quite dramatic, but then it what's it called? It gets more upbeat. And I think, oh yeah, but another thing about these tracks, they're long. They're like 7, 8 minutes. A lot of them is pretty
I
crazy.
mean, it composed for a season of presumably around 8 hours of screen time, and this album is about 150 minutes of music, so it's still, like it's a lot. There are albums of this length. It's not super unusual, but it's still just a taste of the whole composition.
Yeah. Indeed. And if I might be able to actually, I might be able to put something up quickly as a little.
Mhm.
Can you hear me? Hen?
I can hear you,
Good,
yes.
good, good. Kyle has told me to try. Hey, Hen, shush! Don't put that. If you're gonna listen to that, mute it.
What? Why is it coming from my speaker just a minute now?
Oh my god.
And I'm
How?
not listening. I'm listening to something else, by the way.
Okay. I'm not really sure how to put this on. So yeah, basically that is so I think one thing that I'll try to see that might work. Um so Hen, so give your overall thoughts on the soundtrack quickly while I get something up.
It's of the bare pieces, they're kind of what I expected them to be in a sense. They're very kind of contemporary style, large scale scoring for movies and shows that you see often. It's not. It's people. I heard people like comparing it. Oh, it sounds like. I've even heard people say John Williams, but they've also named other composers, and I'm like, yeah, because it's like the kind of Hollywood sound, the kind of big sound that you do for big scores. At the same time, there are some nice coups in it. I was very partial to a version of the theme from the track that is called Galadriel, which is played. I think it's in White Leaves, played very slow, very funereal. I like the effect very much. That was very nice. The use of the chorus is very nice. Um, so that was a pleasant surprise. The Howard Shore theme is certainly a very pleasant surprise. Not what I imagined it to be, but very, very lovely, and a very interesting musical device. It's sad that we won't hear it presumably in the underscore. I certainly didn't hear it in any track on the album, but maybe in future seasons, one hopes. But it's lovely. So yeah, the soundtrack is quite nice.
Yep. And I think that's our overall thing with the soundtrack. It should be up soon, and I think overall we are looking we are quite excited for the soundtrack. Indeed. If you want to put any final thoughts, if not, then we can.
Yes, there was one thing that I remembered. I'm very very intrigued with the opening credits because I want to see just how is it like a montage that there are beats in it that the soundtrack is trying to sync with, or is it a bit more abstract and we really would just hear it as music, as pure music, as absolute music, so to speak.
Also, okay, yeah.
So yeah,
Also,
very interested.
Can you be muted for a second? Because I'm gonna try to play something on stream.
Sure.
Screen. Let's get this. Guessing you guys. I'm hoping. Yep, you guys saw that. So that's going to be our fish. Rings up our reaction now. I think for which is going to we've already have the first one stream. So thanks to Kyle who's done a smashing job on that as well. So yeah, we'll hopefully be seeing some of you on one of those live streams when the episodes are live. So that's going to be Friday at I think the first 2 episodes are going to be will be live from 1:30. So I'll actually, you know what, we'll see if we can play it again one more time. Yeah. Hopefully we will be catching hopefully we'll be catching you guys there. So thank you guys for watching. Yep, again, great job to Car. Hope you guys really yep. We've actually, if you think this is great, wait until the Sunday show we're doing with Watch Party. There's another great one as well. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Hen, thank you for coming on as always. We've had I think another interesting discussion.
Yeah, it was lovely. Yeah, thank you.
And I think we're getting into the overload period where there is so much coming.
There is a lot of stuff.
Yeah, so I think there's so many other stuff we could have made a video on. So many things have come up, but we're just going to have to. Can't do it. It'd be like we're being here for hours. So yeah, we'll just have to wait and see on that. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Thanks to everyone in chat and MORDOR, not in MORDOR, here for watching. And I think until the next one, guys. I think actually end the poll. I think overall, it seemed like 60%. Have said 40% said they're excited for the Southland plot, and I understand for the 40% you don't because it's original characters, so you cannot see the unexpected yet. So just gonna have to wait and see. So until the next one, goodbye.